Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another Youth War Talk.
Oh, yeah, on the hat. I didn't realize that. Like, like it's not realizing how on the hat. And like, they come down, like, I was like, why you have on the hat?
Anyway, it's been a while since I've been here. I've missed you guys. I've missed you, Keith.
Yeah.
It's clear to say that I did not really miss Kurt that much.
Crazy wood.
Don't know. Right. So, our topic this evening, Keith, what is our topic?
In the church, but not of the church.
Right.
Yeah.
It's I like that thought because it's a kind of play on something that we see a lot in the world, but not of the world. Right. So before we begin and get into that topic, Brother Kuhn, seeing that you clearly are in need of settling, would you say your opening prayer?
Let us pray. Almighty God, Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for guiding us safely through to see yet this another Sabbath day. Even now, dear God, as we get into this discussion, we ask you to guide our thoughts and help that whatever we see would be edifying, not just to us, but to our viewers as well. So I ask you, O Lord, to just speak through us and help that the messages that you have in store for your people, they would be able to be open to receive what you have to say. We thank you and we bless you for hearing and answering our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Right.
In
the world, but not
in the church.
In the church, correct.
But
in the world. In the church, but not of the church.
Not of the church.
That's right. So, to just give it a little context, a question was asked, was given to the Youth War Talk team, where it was, is being part of the church or in the church required, or can I just be a part of the church community? Right? Do I need to be in all of the services all the time? Or is it just good enough for me to be a part of the church community? When they're doing outreach and things, I do for sure. But Sabbath service at 9:15, you're not too sure to catch me. Right? Silence now. Anyway.
Wait. Hi. Anyways.
So, to begin our discussion, right, I think we should ask, what does it mean to go to church, right? Outside of just physically attending a church service.
So, my question before you even get, what is the church?
All
right.
Because how the question was asked, if do I need to be a part, do I need to be in church? And I said in brackets, the building. Right? Because most of us believe that church is the building.
Right.
Right? And that if we're not in the building, we're not in the church.
Right.
So I would say let's start there.
Okay.
Before we even get to, going to church.
Because I think that's where the question, that's where the topic in regards to the theme come about. Because if you were to put building next to in the church and you put building next to it, then you would have an understanding. But it's a play on words, you're looking at the church building and the church, the actual church itself, which is the people. So you have to be like, because the reality is that just as in the church, but not of the church, could be both. Could be both. In that you could be in the church building, but not in the actual church in regards to fellowship. But then you could be in, and it goes both ways, but it's which one is more detrimental. They could be a part of the fellowship, which is the real church, but not in the church building.
That's right.
So it's like, which one would be more detrimental to your Christian life, to your Christian growth? Because I think that both is important, but the fellowship or the actual recognizing that the church is the people and not the building is where we have to know that is what is more important. But we're not negating the fact that we need to gather together in a building.
Okay. Or anywhere. Yeah, I think church is the gathering of people.
Right.
More than the physical building. Because we could gather anywhere.
Exactly.
And we can have church anywhere.
And have church. Well, because they have church, right?
We had church in Fort Granby on a big almond tree.
And there will be times when, as we believe, coming down to the end, that we will not, in some cases, may not
Be able
be
to
in
enter into
a
a physical building.
Mm-hmm.
but we still will be together and be able to have church or have
Right.
service, because the church is just the church is the people. The
Mhm.
building, although we call it a church,
Mhm.
but the church could be anywhere. The church could be in my house. Let's say my
Yeah.
whole church comes to my house if we have space, and for Sabbath day, we still having church.
Exactly.
We're just not having it in what we designate as normally having our services. If we decide, yeah, we're going on by the botanical gardens, we're still having church. So I would say, first of all, the church is just not the edifice, but it's the people.
Right.
And I think the conversation comes about because a lot of us place a lot of emphasis on the church building itself,
right.
and not necessarily the members or who come into the building. In that, in a lot of places and in a lot of other religions, you see that they put a lot of effort into the building. And I'm using the word building very loosely, into the building, because that is a statement for them.
Yeah.
So the building is a reflection of what is going on in the members, right? For the members is what is going on. So it's like, even in our setting as well, you go into a church and you see a church with chandelier and a church with AC and a church, when you walk in there, you have comfortable chairs as in the pews. That church is considered rich, and that church is considered, you understand? And then you would look down on churches that when you go in, the AC is the breeze that is blowing through the church, right? And it's pews that you are sitting on, and you look at that as a difference. And that is where I think the conversation come about, even when the person sending to us having this conversation is about, we're not supposed to be looking at the building itself, because the reality is, and I remember while in Trinidad, just pop back into my mind here, that I was in a particular area in Trinidad, and there were several churches, and it's like, this is the mother church, and then all of the other churches came out of this church. And I was like, all right, cool. So when everybody come to that area, they go to that church because that's the mother church. So they go visit and they go to that church. And then the other churches were small churches around and this kind of stuff. And I remember going to one particular church. And I don't think that the building was originally supposed to be a church, right? But it was very ancient. When I walked in, I was very careful. Now the other members walking through like normal, and I had to be like step in, and I hear the creaking wood, like it's like upstairs and downstairs, and the church was upstairs. And I was kind of very concerned walking into the church, because it's like, what going on here? Like, you want to fall apart. And in my mind, it's like, hey, boy, take me back to the other church, huh? But that's what I thought, but I stayed. And that church, to me, physically, it wasn't the best, but spiritually, it was very much enriching compared to the others, And anytime I go there, but the only thing is that I could not have gone there as much as I wanted because of the distance, right? It was in a very secluded area, and if you don't have transport to get there, and then some of the members, them don't have their own transport, and then I realized where I was coming from is the opposite direction. So it's like they come in to the church, right? And then I am coming from the other direction to the church. So it would be very...
They had to pass the church
and then come back. And then because of the distance, it was very challenging. I was like, no, I can pour you through, that is fine. I can figure out a way how to get there. It was very spiritual in regards to, although when you look at it, it's like, but when you go in there and you felt the familyness, the togetherness, the camaraderie, is like, yeah, man, this is church.
And as you said, I think of, you ever watch these house tours of these massive houses that they build out in these different countries, and they feel so empty and cold, and it's like just white marble everywhere,
right,
and glass, and they feel so empty and cold,
and they don't feel lived in, because...
And then you go to a house that's actually a lot smaller and maybe not as tidy and everything else, but it feels lived in, and family reside there. I think that is what it is, and there's nothing that's wrong with having a nice fancy church, right? I would love to say that. There's nothing wrong. But if you have a nice fancy church and all the people are cold, then you accomplish nothing. It's like the giant, nice marble house that's cool and empty, right? But if you have something that's where the people are, where there's joy, where there's happiness, where there's fellowship, then people want to come. So whether it's nice and the people are happy and have fellowship, or it's small and the people are happy and have fellowship, people would want to come. Because you draw people by your warmth. Sure, there are those who will come for the fanciness and for the grandness.
Yeah, but they stay because of
they stay because of the togetherness. So the question was asked, to go back to it, what does it mean to go to church? Right? Or what does it mean to come to church? And so for me, coming to church, wherever church is meeting or is the gathering together of people with the express we have somebody in Sister Nita P, that is.
Yeah, you look right. Boy.
Yes, and she's saying she's still in Dallas, Texas, so we're saying hi. We have Sheila Andrews as well, and Bianna Bremner. So we want to say hi to you all and also to the others out there as well. So I was saying, I lost my train of thought.
What does it mean to go to church?
With the express, so we gathering together with the reason of worship, right? And to take part in the worship.
All right.
Because there are a lot of people who just come to be filled.
Right. Fed.
Right. Whatever it is. And sometimes you leave empty because you have not taken part in anything. You just come, you don't sing a song, you don't sing, you don't participate in lesson study, you do nothing. You just come, you sit, as soon as the service is done, and you go on. And you have accomplished nothing. Very little. All right? So that is to me when somebody say they going to church, that's what that means to me.
Yeah. All right. Now, but then is it that you are just following, like, this is what I custom doing. This is what I grew up doing. You know, coming here, sitting, going through emotion, and then going back home.
I think going to church for a lot of people is just going through the emotions, because I remember I invited a friend of mine from a different church to come to my church. They came, non-Adventist by the way. They came, they sat down. They didn't know plenty of the songs, so they couldn't sing along. When they read Bible text, they read along, but they said because they were not able to participate as much. They didn't feel like they would at church. I just feel like they're just there. Right? So I invited them another time and I told them, instead of just going and sit down in church, tag along with me. Right? I work in the EV department at church. I know that they like those kind of stuff too. So when I invited them there, and they were serving and doing things and contributing to the service, and I say, yeah, this time I feel so much better when I came to church. Because even though they weren't able to sit down and just watch everything happen, they felt, because they contributed to things happening, it's like, yeah, today I did something, yeah. I feel like I was in church this time.
And I think that is the participation, the participatory aspect of church that we have
often
to
overlook.
Embrace. We overlook it, but we have to embrace it because, like, for me, there are persons that focus, if you focus more on the building than the brethren, you're in a very precarious position, but you're also, in my estimation, more legalistic, because you might say that this person be more, when you focus on the building, you're more stringent in regards to, we need to start by this time, we need to end by this time, you can only do this, you can only do that, and this kind of stuff, because your focus is on not really glorifying God, but actually just holding to what the standard is. And then we would have mentioned this some time ago in regards to culture and tradition in the mix as well there, you know. So your focus should be on being a Christian, but more importantly, your focus should be being on a disciple. And when you focus on the building or you place the building in a particular level, you're not a Christian, you're not a disciple outside of the church, but when you step in the church, you're a disciple. So it's like, I can live anyway, because it's like, you know, when you're telling people, when people tell their children, Don't run inside of the church. There's no place for you to go up. There's not for play and this kind of stuff, which is right. That you're not supposed to, right? But then, when the deacons or deaconesses come into clean, and I've experienced it in myself in several churches, they're having all kind of conversations inside of the church. They're having all kind of conversations inside the church. So the church is only holy on Sabbaths or when service is going on, right? But then again, if we are representing Christ, and I think this is where we have to, where our mindset's supposed to be, in that if we are representing Christ, wherever we go, should be an opportunity to have church.
Right.
So we have to move away from the mindset of a building. Yes, the building is there to have a greater gathering of folks, but then every opportunity we have to have church, we should have that. So our mindset should no longer be about just waiting for a service.
Right.
Because that is where we focus on when we do the church. Because even me, when I was just looking at it and reflecting on it, we a lot of times put a lot of emphasis on the building. And I remember when it comes to church, and even when doing my research, it just says that it's going to church or going to these services doesn't mean that you're a Christian or disciple of Christ. No. They're just following what is there. Church says you're supposed to be in church on Wednesday night, you're present. You're there in church on Sunday night, you're present. Sabbath, you're on time, but that doesn't mean that you have a relationship with God. And that is where it's key, is that for some people, it might push you into striving to have that relationship with God, whereas in other persons, they just get tired and just following, going through the motions and this kind of stuff, which brings me to another thought of that church supposed to be an experience that edifies the brethren. It shouldn't feel like a chore.
Right.
It shouldn't feel like, oh gosh, I had to go to church. It's supposed to be like you're joyful to go to church. You're joyful to go and meet the brethren. Not the building, but you're joyful to go and meet the brethren. And that is why it is important for us to be the church as brethren and not focus on the building. So in that way, when we go to church, the building, we would actually have church.
Right. And I think a part of, just kind of jumping back to the participation as well. Some reasons why some people just say, oh, I had to go back to church, because they don't do nothing. When they come, you come to church, you sit down wherever you choose to sit down on Sabbath. Only time you really get up, they ask you to stand up to sing, ask you to stand up to read the scripture, ask you to stand up to pray, you stand up to go and use the toilet, come back and sit down. That is what you do whole Sabbath, every week. After a while, I gain up from my bed to go and do that. That is the mindset you're going to have towards it. But if you don't have to do something every week, but if every now and again you do something, you feel like you're contributing. When you do those things, when you are not doing something, when you sit down in church, you get to see it from a different perspective, and that having that different perspective can give you a different feel to how things worked before. So now you feel like, okay, so, right. I just talking because I don't know where I'm going with this anymore.
Right. That's okay.
Yeah, man, blank there.
Is he
has
hot?
nothing to do with the hat.
Is he hot?
Has nothing to do with the hat.
You know I was going there, right?
Yeah, I know I was going there.
But Sister Anita Kirk, excellent question you just posted in the chat there, and we will, of course, you want to address that right about now. What can a young person do when he or she does not feel welcomed in church? Excellent question. Thank you very much for that question, Sister Kirk. What can a young person do when he or she does not feel welcome in church? Right? No. I would start and I would throw it out because I am going back to what we were discussing last week in regards to creating a community in the church. Right? Last week we were talking about creating a community within the church where persons feel welcomed, where persons feel like, you have an opportunity that you can come and share. You have an opportunity where you can come like if you have issues or you have certain challenges, certain struggles, you have a community within the church that you can just come and lay a burden down and we can help each other carry it along and this kind of stuff. So when it comes to this question here, once that community is created the young person, anybody would feel welcome because now it would be like you have that, or if you realize that they have a particular talent, you would actually encourage them in that talent and help them to groom themselves and this kind of stuff. Because what you want is that people have the opportunity to do things, whether they do good or bad. They have opportunity to do things, and it's like, well, next time you could do X, Y, and Z, and next time you do X, Y, and Z, right? And we're not talking about folks who cannot sing or who cannot, right? We go in there, right? Or cannot speak well, right? No, there are certain things that don't do that. Because in the reality is that there are persons you cannot give them a Bible to go up in front of a congregation. Don't put them through that. But then they could do a Bible study. A one-on-one kind of interaction, they're there. But don't, you understand?
Because I have a friend who, ask him to sing no for the next 5 minutes. You could hear some one time, you ask him no for the next 5 minutes to go and read our Bible text.
No.
Problems. Because the nerves to go and read in front of everybody. You could kill him. You had to ask way in advance. So you had to know your people as well.
Yeah. And also you have to be intentional. Like in how you deal with them, you be intentional to hear what their strengths are, to hear what what they weaknesses or what their struggles, because having conversations, you would know if people feel uncomfortable, comfortable, and this kind of stuff. So be intentional about reaching out to them so that they would feel welcome. Like if you see, especially for young people, because he's speaking specifically to young people, like if any time a young person, at that point in time, they're very sociable. So if they're pulling to the surface because there's some level of awkwardness or some level of discomfort that they are feeling, find them, figure out what is going on, why that is happening, these kind of stuff. So in that way now, they would see an avenue, an opportunity that they could actually share. And it could be a simple thing, of just they didn't have a good week. Right? Or it could be a major thing of that, they realize that they're suffering from depression. But then we have to be intentional as adults to see those things and to see if we can get the necessary help.
But that's not perfect, but it's in our church.
Yeah.
Now, and Sister Kirk's question, because I see the answer I wanted to give that Sister Nita gave.
Right.
That if that is not the case, and sometimes coming in, it depends on the context if you're in the church for a while or if you're not coming into the church.
Right.
Some groups joining into the group is very hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they already have established
rules and
relationships and whatever the case is.
Correct.
Unfortunately, our church sometimes could be like that. More like a social club where you are coming in and you're coming in to meet cliques and these things, right? And that is a story all by itself. But sometimes we have to be the one to extend first. If you're coming in, you have to be sometimes the one to extend first.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people coming in and, okay, I am shy. Let's say I am shy. And I'm coming to the church. I don't say good morning. Somebody might say good morning to me, and that's the only time I might say good morning. As soon as the service is over, I leave.
Right.
So the thing in people's minds, this person, why you behaving so? He can't stay around and chat with anybody. He feel better than me or what? Unfortunately, that is where a lot of people's minds go. Now, if you have the perfect church where people come and they are welcome at the first step, great. But sometimes we coming into a space, we have to be the light in that space.
Yeah.
So you have to say, hi, this was make yourself known. Sometimes that's required. And then people start to get accustomed to you. So not all the time, people will reach out. Sometimes we might have to be the ones to reach out.
And you have to also remember you're reaching out that you might not be that person's cup of tea.
And that's
you don't mean that something wrong with you or something wrong with them.
Yeah.
So it's not everybody cup of tea.
Correct. And the thing is,
that's a key though.
We may be we might be cordial, but I may not be the same level of friendship that you might find with somebody else.
Correct.
Right? And we have to give people, even within church, we have to give people grace.
Yeah.
Because you're not dealing with
You're
not dealing with perfect people.
Exactly.
You're dealing with people who are on the same level as you and will make mistakes, even in building relationships. Now, sometimes you may be in a space, and Brother Brown brought it out, and you may just have to find a new space. Right?
And that's the fact. And it's not to say that space is negative.
It's negative. It's
or
just
in a bad. It's just not a space for you.
Exactly.
Because you have to be the one that worship, that's the word I was looking for. Worship happens in different forms.
Exactly.
And then there are persons would find this kind of worship, I can't. But it's not wrong. It's just that for whatever reason you're not accustomed to that, so you can't. And you understand why there's, but you don't feel comfortable in that context, right? So when it comes to the gathering, I think what we have to look at as well, aside from the reason why I'm coming to church, is that you have to look at the different aspects of the church, right? It's different aspects of the church, because there are some churches that flows and it's the same thing from beginning to end. And then there are churches that have different segments that goes on that they can learn something from, that a lot of people may just, because there are a lot of persons that they would hear nothing in the sermon, but they enjoy the lesson study.
Right.
Why? Because they get to contribute in the lesson study, and then they learn a lot from the lesson study. And then there are other times when the sermon was on point. You understand? I get something from there. All of that aspects there comes into play, even with the question I was asked. All of those kind of things I feel, because we look at feeling welcomed as going up and greeting somebody, right? But it feel, because sometimes you could feel welcome without even people recognizing you.
Yeah.
You understand? And I've been to churches, right? And all the churches in Tobago know me, and I've been to churches that my name. I've been to churches where I went and I sat and I felt welcome, in the sense that there was somebody at the front, they greeted me, and it's like, "Happy Sabbath, hope you enjoy your stay today," and that was it. Nobody else spoke to me after that for the rest of the service. But that to me opened the way for me to actually enjoy the service. And even if that didn't happen, like for me, even if that didn't happen and they removed that didn't happen, the whole church was feeling welcoming, because even when persons come, they sat next to you and it's like, "Hey, happy Sabbath." Simple things like that. They didn't just come and sit down and just stay and watching your cross-eyed. They came, "Happy Sabbath, how are you going?" And these kind of stuff. No long conversation, but you felt comfortable in the setting. And all of those aspects, when we come to, and that comes to when we said about when we come to not just receive, if we come to give as well, our mindset about when we come to church would be one that we would always be willing to give, in that I have something to give now, and even just as a welcome. And I think sometimes that's why some people may not feel welcomed when they come to church, because them, just like everybody else, has come to receive something. So I don't have the energy or the time to be focusing on this person that come here. Right? I need to read the chat, because I've seen a lot of comments coming in there.
While you reading, I go train this.
So while you
our next thing that we need to keep in mind is that when some people leave our church, it does not mean that they leave church on a whole. Right? Because just as we said, not everywhere go be for every person. Bamboo and cabbage don't grow in the same soil. Right? You have to remember, you have to stop thinking that your church is a multi-purpose soil. Everybody have to find their place. Right? So Sandy River might not be the place for you, but it might be Bethel Church. Charlottesville might not be the place for you. It might be Zion Hill. Yeah. So you have to go in trying to find your community. You also have to go. You can't give up by the first church you meet. You have to keep trying. Let me go here. All right, this is not what I'm looking for, but it's kind of close. So now you have a gauge for, okay, I could ask the church members here. Any other churches that I would feel kind of the same way that I felt here? And then go look in here. So that way, when you do find your place, right, you can help others who are looking for their place as well.
But important
to make sure
that
they find their community where they feel welcome.
Right. Nice. But important to that, I always going back to you have to be in the process of giving as well, because sometimes we looking for churches to fit in all mold. And it's not that, because you have to be giving as well. So you're going to receive, but you must be willing to be give as well. Because a lot of our churches, a lot of our persons, I know some churches, there's like, who preaching today? Or that elder or me going to church today? I'm going someplace else.
Crazy.
Right? Not crazy. That is what has happened. So you are not, and now your mindset is not going church to give, but your mindset is go to church to receive. And now, even if that particular person, you may not like how that person preaches or how they present and this kind of stuff, when you go, you could actually be the person that could actually be giving something as well. You understand? And I think that is where we does lose a lot of things. Now, in the context of continuing there, why this thing scrolling down to the bottom and then I have to go back to the top? I don't know why. Right. We have to look at things when I know we talk about the question, we're talking about small groups and Bible study and this kind of stuff and outreach, which is so important, which is a part of the conversation. You understand me? So it's not just going to church on Sabbath and then going home and continue your life. These aspects of when we are the church in regards to the members being the church, the actual true church, we would know these kind of things would come out of this, right? These kind of things will come out of this in regards to doing small groups, doing Bible study, doing what your church doing there? Homework. Homework centers and this kind of stuff that would come out from you, the members, and being the church. So now you now want to share what God has done to you now outside and that would come. So it's not just about the service. The service now you're happy for, but then now you're adding to it now that you want to share the service in the community. So now the church is going into the community, which will no longer be a building, but you're going into the community to do these kind of small groups. And these kind of things now, which we know and we have experienced, it brings a more intimate experience that you'll be happy when the bigger gathering comes together. You know, because of those small groups, because of those Bible studies, even if it's just a social gathering, like, Keith just called his family and said, or you can come by me for lunch this afternoon. After that, now you're looking forward to the big gathering. And you're not going to you're not just going to receive, but you're going to give as well, because now you have an experience and you can give a testimony to encourage somebody. You can share your experience about what happened to you, so that person now will be encouraged now that what happened in the smaller spheres, it now being reflected in the bigger thing when you come to the actual building, because we're not coming to receive as well, but we're coming to give in that context right there.
So the person was asked, just going back to the question again, as we said, if just to reiterate the question, if I need to be in church and also building for every service to be a Christian, right? And I think that's important, to be a Christian, or just part of the community, taking part in Bible studies, outreach, etc.
Right.
And I think both are important. We're saying that both are important. So we cannot, and the Bible reminds us not to forsake the assembling of the brethren, right? And that's what church does. But all our growth doesn't come within the Sabbath service, right? Because that is just one service of the church. We have outreach. There is growth that comes from outreach that you may not get in the Sabbath service.
Yeah.
But then there's growth that comes in the Sabbath service that prepares you for outreach, right? Because if I don't know what I believe, or I'm not grounded in what I believe, my outreach may not be as effective as it could be, right? Because the church doesn't just preach alone, we teach you how to outreach, and some of these things are done during the Sabbath service. So if you are coming and you say, okay, no, I'm not coming to church, I just come in for the peripheral, the things outside of church, I think you miss so much. Right. You're coming for Bible study alone, but you can't make it for Sabbath school to share what you learn. So I think that your coming on a Sabbath morning helps you just as much as the other things, the social, the community outreach. Because I can say I love the brethren, because you're not going to do community outreach every single Sabbath or every single Sunday. It might be 1 or 2 Sundays or however often, but it may not be as often as a regular weekly service. So how well do I know the brethren if only I only showing up for
Sabbath?
For different services.
For a outreach program. How well will I know my brethren? Or we have Bible study on Zoom, right? I show up to a Bible study, but how well do I know the people?
Correct.
Because I don't see them on Sabbath. And most of the time, the camera not on.
So you don't even know who you're talking to.
I don't know your face. I've never met you. Yeah, we discuss the Bible, but when I see you in church, I can now put our face. Because I've been to places where we have a prayer line on mornings. And then a lady who lives in Trinidad, one of our members, she came and she's like, this is the face. I know the face now. So there's something new when you meet the people that you've been connecting with otherwise. So I would say that, both are important, and there are a lot of things in the chat that I think are so important. So Sister Cook was mentioning learning about people's names, asking people's names. Right? That's really important. And making sure that we do. Somebody has said having welcome during Sabbath school. And I think if we could just go up a little bit, where they were saying that there should be no church where you have
somebody need to drive around.
Drive around to find a church, right? And that should not be. That really should not be. You should feel welcomed at every church, and we understand that, right? So that's one of the things. And then somebody asked, how does someone with social anxiety give during church? All right. So someone is asking that. Someone with social anxiety. So there are some people who, it is them in a social setting is hard. They just want to fold themselves up into the smallest ball they could find.
They want to leave.
Don't call me. Then they may want to be there. They just don't call me. Don't ask me to pray. Don't ask me to, So how does somebody with that kind of social anxiety, how can they give?
Yeah, this time you all can call in and you all can give your answer.
So Queen, what is your normal other code? But in my experience with this, there's a member at our church with social anxiety, but she always likes to participate in church, so she's a part of the AV team. We are the back of the church. Plenty of stuff in church do happen without us. So, but they're still not in the forefront, So people, the eyes not on you constantly. When they 1, 2 times when things don't go as well as they should, and everybody then is when everybody does no idea, because everybody turn around. So at those times, we just have to help calm her down, because in her mind, everybody eyes on her when it's the group. But calm, But you find a place where you can live, where you feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's right.
Because in the AV department, you still have plenty of things that you could do. So we walked her through it and say, all right, so where you feel most comfortable. Right here, we help make sure she's extremely familiar with everything. No, she's a very essential part of our team. Because we helped her find a way where she can give comfortably.
Correct.
While there is still room for growth, she can eventually, maybe sometimes, every now and again, she does something in church, and it's a struggle, but she still goes up in front and does something in church.
And I think that is so key there in getting where they are comfortable, not where, right?
Where you feel they should be.
Yeah, for me and my personality, I can't deal with somebody that's socially awkward or anxious. Yeah, you're gonna be problems. Yeah, I am not. I would admit because I would push you into positions and situations that I definitely know you would not feel comfortable in. So the key is in actually dealing with them where they are at, and then helping them to step out more. Because remember, social anxiety, just like anything else, is just overthinking a situation or putting unwanted pressure on yourself. So you just have to put them in, you're comfortable here, okay. And when you're ready to take the next step, you take the next step. When you're ready to take the next step, you take the next step. Because that is how they can give, because everybody can give in a church, right? Everybody have something to give. Because all of us are a part of the big body, the body of Christ. All of us have our own roles. There's somebody who is the finger, there's somebody who is the eye, there's somebody who is the nose, and the other body parts, even the internal body parts. And I would always look at it and say, we see the eye, the nose, the mouth, the ears, the hair, the hands. And a lot of us like to be the ones that are visible, right? But then there is need for those who are not seen, right?
There's need for the backbone.
That's right. There's need for the heart. There's need for the lungs. Because those things, and the interesting thing is that those are the ones that are key for the hands to move. That if there is nothing happening on the inside, nothing is on the outside. We're dead. You understand? We're actually dead. So I think a lot of us just like to be out here, when what is happening on the inside is way more important than what is happening out here. And I think that is what we have to understand. And that is how important the church is, in that what is going on the inside. And I think if you look at the building, what is going on the inside of the building is a reflection of what they do on the outside. Right? So if they spend time repairing and dealing with the heart and the lungs and different body parts here, then we know we could function properly when we step out into the community. Right? Jamal, you got a joke? Somebody sent you a message that you just can't.
We started to talk about internal organs and stuff. And my brain was like, does the church body have an appendix?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, but what does that do?
No, Jamal, that was the first when you said that's the smallest thing, and that was the appendix came to me. I just left it. I was like, man.
Because in my head, I was like, people appendixes but and it's gone.
No, you can't live without it.
One night, like, but does the church body have what does that do? That's what my mind went.
Yeah,
so
that's some appendix.
I went and looked up what the appendixes do.
There are some appendices in the church, don't worry. No, they are key until they're bliss, right?
Right.
The pressure.
Right.
So somebody's asking why some members only come in time for divine hour and not for Sabbath.
They ask those members.
And I think because some people see divine hour as
because we call it divine
hour.
And when the whole Sabbath is a part of the church, the whole Sabbath is the Lord's, right? The whole Sabbath is the Lord's. And to me, this is personally, it's a pet peeve for me. There's this whole, you're coming, like, for Sabbath school is 5 people. And then by midday, you can't
find a seat.
You can't get a seat. And to me, that shows where your mind is in regards to being the church. We spend more time, and again, I could be wrong, but I'm not, in that we come to receive more than to give. Because if we came, that's correct, right? Yes. Because if we come in to give, we would be there from the service, from the time the service begins, we would be there, right? Because we have something to contribute. Because if, based on our church structure here, we do not contribute anything, we do not give anything or contribute to the midday service, right?
Except probably some service.
Probably, you understand? But it's a sit and listen. But then we have Sabbath school where it's more open to contribute. We have AY, which is more open to contribute in regards to church setting, discussion and this kind of stuff. You understand? So you're coming now to receive more than to give. When you could have given your points in the lesson, and giving your points in the lesson doesn't mean that you have to put up your hand to give a point. But then you could be, you're listening, and then that's right. The next person next to you, hey, you know, I study and this is how I understand it to be. And you see what you're saying there, yeah, I understand what you're telling me there. But there's like, but I don't understand. Well, let me explain it to you a little bit more. This is what it means. So to be. I'm not disrupting the service because that's how it's supposed to be. In that you're giving at a point in time, not just coming to receive. And I think that is where, and I think because they have this word divine,
Make it
use that word play of divine is like the rest of the Sabbath.
Subconscious.
Right. Sub.
No, it's not sub sometimes.
Sometimes it's conscious.
I want to because I keep saying subconsciously.
Right?
full
You
consciously.
fully know
So
that
there are some people who just
I ain't
honestly,
coming. I ain't not coming.
the highest priority is given to the midday, the divine hour service. That is the highest priority because we compartmentalize the Sabbath. So from 11 o'clock to 12:01, that's the best part of the Sabbath. Right? Or that's the only part of the Sabbath because that's the only time you will see them. You will not see them for AY. You will not see them for Sabbath school.
You could repeat
right?
that
So
time.
the truth is we have to see the Sabbath as a whole. Whether it be sundown worship on Friday evening, because that's still part of the Sabbath. And you make yourself present for that.
Right.
Sabbath school, divine hour, AY. Right? Or however you, but you see the thing is, a lot of us we say we're tired. So I could afford to miss Sabbath school. I could afford to miss that, right? You know, I'm tired. I'm waking up like 9 o'clock. Yeah, I can afford to miss that, but I cannot miss the sermon.
Can't miss the sermon.
I can't miss the sermon at all. So if it is that, you know, we look at giving the different services of the church equal value and finding ourselves, and I think as somebody said, we really need to ask ourselves, why am I going to?
Yeah, what am I going for?
Honest question, and we need to ask ourselves and really answer, what are you doing here? It's like I always ask my students at the beginning of when they come into platform, why you choose this subject? What you're here for?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think we really need to really sit and ask ourselves, why am I? We have to find our reason for going to church.
Yes.
We have to look beyond, well, yeah, I used to go, because that's the answer that
because I live
everybody,
in my parents' house and my and daddy going to church.
So I've grown up going to church. It is all I know. I could say that is all I know.
But all you know is the building. You don't have a relationship.
And so then you begin to ask yourself, so why am I doing this? When you're grown up and you're beginning, even as a child, you can't ask yourself, why am I doing this? And then you really have to interrogate and say, am I doing this because of ritual? Or am I doing it because I know what I'm about? I have a relationship with the one I come to meet. And so I think really and truly there is some level of interrogation that we have to do, some serious self-introspection of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And if you're saying, okay, I know what I'm doing, then you ask yourself, how can I then contribute to what I'm doing? And then when you contribute to the building, the other things make sense. The Bible study now becomes richer because I understand the people, I understand their perspective. My outreach becomes richer because I understand what I'm doing.
Yeah.
There is joy in meeting people. Right? There's a joy in meeting people.
Yeah.
You cannot, every Sabbath can't be online church. It cannot be online church. Every Sabbath can't. Not saying that you one Sabbath, you want to go to Jamaica, you can't take a flight, but you could get a service online. I'm not saying that.
They talk to some people face to face.
But every Sabbath cannot be that.
Yeah.
You will grow. You will lose yourself. You will lose some parts of your Christian self along the way.
Correct.
Right? You lose accountability. You lose these things because there's nobody there. And the church forms a functional unit that goes out. And there's a lot that you could do as a person, but the church carries you further when we work together. Right? So it's not going to, the text that says, let us eat our own bread and do our own things, but let us be called by your name.
Right.
So there are a lot of people, I want to do my own thing. I would like to do my own thing, but let me just, I have the name Adventist. And that's what the question kind of gave me that sense.
That kind of feel is like, I want to identify, but I don't want to live. I want to be associated, but I'm not doing anything else.
So that was one of the things that really came up when I heard the question. I like to be on the peripheral of things, but not in
it,
so yeah,
right.
you know, that kind of.
But I want to add certain things, even with the comments that I'm making here, that as a church, we have to show mutual care in that I'm supposed to care for you and you're supposed to care for me, right? I want to just build on, I saw 2 points and I just want to bring those out quickly, in that we are designed to carry each other's burdens, encourage one another, and use our spiritual gifts to serve each other. This happens most directly when we are together. And that is the important thing. That's why it says mutual care, is that I care for you and you care for me. So it's a giving and receiving. It's not a give, or receive. It's a giving and receiving. And then we have also, and I want us to understand this as well, the church building is a tool.
Right.
Right? To facilitate the gathering of people. What's happened inside, which is worship, teaching, fellowship, all of those things, is what's sacred, not the walls themselves. So it's the act that is happening inside of the church is what is sacred, not necessarily the church itself. And I think that is so important for us to understand and to realize that when we go to church, and that is where persons will feel way more welcome when there is mutual care. When I genuinely care for you and you genuinely care for me. You understand? It's not just about and in many ways, and I think last week we spoke about it, is that there are some persons that are emotionally stable that can help and genuinely care for those who are not so emotionally stable. There are those who are emotionally intelligent that can help others who might not be that way, because there are some of us can be very inconsiderate when it comes to other people that can help them in that way. There are some who are financially well off that can help all those who are not so financially well off.
Sometimes
right?
you might not need all that. Sometimes you just need somebody in your corner and encouraging them.
That is it. So encouragement and this kind of stuff. So all of those kind of things are so important in regards to when that mutual care comes into play, is that because the reality is that it's impossible to tell my finger to move without the brain.
True.
Right? It's impossible to take a step without my eyes looking in the direction that I want to step in. So, and it's the same way, it's impossible. Oh gosh, I just had a Jamal moment there.
See what we're not going to do, say my name. Yes, stop. Wow.
You know, but everybody, I'm sure those who are watching understand what I meant. Right. But again, you know, the processes, everything you need, everybody, because there are some point in time you depend. And even when, like, if you get a cut, and it always make back to the reference of when you get a cut, the body actually shuts down and focus to fix that cut. And everybody now, the whole body reacting now to how to deal with that. So they start to feel the pain. The pain is not just for pain's sake. The pain is to show the body, hey, there's something wrong. And now, who had to come into play to deal with this? And now, mind operating is like, okay, we need the red blood cells, white blood cells, whatever blood cells to deal with that. Or hand kind of gets a cloth, mind, tell your hand, gets a cloth, put it on that kind of, and all of those kind of things going on to help fix that situation there. And it's the same way how within the church, as a body, we should have that mutual care for each other, so that it will be so easy that when a situation happens, everybody just start to click, everybody just start to move. It's like automatic. Nobody had to tell Keith what to do when a situation happens. Keith already know, because I genuinely care for the person. So I wouldn't be looking to be like, what's supposed to do? No. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody moving. Everybody shifting to do what is necessary so that we could actually
all passing to work simultaneously.
Yeah, we need to do work.
Achieve good, because if your lungs not there, where your heart really?
What is it?
Your heart supposed to be pumping oxygen into the blood. But if your heart not there, your lungs serve no purpose. So everybody needs to be there together, working simultaneously to secure is not the word I want to use, to accomplish the task at hand.
Right. So, and we like in the chat, we like in the conversations in the chat, but as we wind down right about now, we're looking to wind down,
very strict time limit.
Right? That will be fine with. Right now, we have Hebrews, and I just want to read a few verses from Hebrews 10, because Hebrews 10 verse 25 says, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, so much so. And I'm Brother Brown, I would definitely take a few verses on top, which kind of bring us nicely in. Verse 22, and I'll start from verse 22. Let us draw near. Let us draw near with a true heart in full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from any evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promised. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works. Now, if we are doing these things, it's automatically that we will encourage or foster a togetherness. And that is what we have to do, because to me, and as I just read Brother Brown's question in regards to 1025 in isolation, because, and again, that's why I went back to read a few texts before. It's the preceding that is actually bringing together, because automatically you would not forsake the coming together, because
once you're doing those things
and you're doing it from a point of view of love, from a point of view of care,
you can't do them
and this kind of stuff.
isolation.
That's right. That is so correct. Yeah, boy. Jamal, boy. Sit down the next time when you come next time, right? Yeah.
Hey.
And it says, again, verse 25, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as the manner of some is, but exalting one another so much more as ye see the day approaching. So it's not about, and the thing is, if you don't feel welcomed in a place, you wouldn't want to be there. If every time you go there, somebody be like, so why the pants so tight? Why that shirt so, what happened? That's the best shirt you could have wear. Why that skirt so short? All of these different kind of things. Why? You are now coming to say that you would not want to go there because every time they're making an issue with you, they're making a problem with you, right? And that is where we have to encourage persons to be welcoming, encourage persons to be where we could do better and we be intentional. And even in my notes, it's actually, I didn't read through everything, but when I quote back, it's like I covered most of it. It's like we have to be welcome. Sister Nicholson says, so you are saying that the sanctuary was not a sacred place. There's a difference between sanctuary, temple, church. All of those words there, we have to be ever careful of how we use them.
Even
right?
though we use them synonymously, no.
That's right.
They have very different definitions.
The building was set aside for a particular sacred use. So it is sacred. We cannot say, because what we are saying, and I don't think we said that, is that the building was set apart. I don't think that what is there, if we set apart for that, that is what we're going to do there. And we'll be like, it's okay to rent it or to go and have a party or to have a fete or anything like that. The building is set aside for that. There are places where they know, where people understand that they rent out the building for different kind of things. They rent the building and they come to have a church service. That is why we understand that the church is not the building but it's the gathering of the people. They know all kind of things that be happening there, but at this point in time, we could only rent this building and we come in and we're having our church service there. But if the building has been set aside for that sacred use, that is what it should be used for, nothing else. Because that is what we use, and even our bodies. Right? Even our bodies, in the same comparison that our bodies is set aside, our bodies is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So not anything, any and everything supposed to be happening in our bodies. So just as the church, we set aside the church and we know that the church building is where we come together. It's set aside for gathering. It's set aside for worshiping God. It's set aside for anything that brings honor and glory to God. That is what the church is set aside to do. All right? So as we wind down, any closing thoughts as we come to a close of this conversation on this evening?
I would say, find yourself in church. Right? Find yourself in church. And when I mean that, find yourself in church, if that makes sense.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Oh, that's a play on words there, though. That's a double meaning.
Right? You have to find yourself in church. It means two things. Actually, find yourself going to church, and then find yourself. What does church mean to me? As an individual.
Was that intentional? That was intentional? Excellent. I love it.
Right? Why am I here? So I would say I take some time as a person introspect. Am I here because the people treated me nice?
Yeah.
Because when the people stop treating me nice, do I leave? Right? Or am I here because I'm here to meet God? Correct. And regardless of if the preacher didn't preach, if the preacher is the boring preacher, if the people nice or not today, if this happened, I would stay. So I think we really need to, interrogate ourselves and see whether or not why am I really here. So that's my 2 cents last weekend.
So my closing thoughts are along the same lines. I was going to say, find your soil. As you grow as a Christian and plan to bear fruit, you have to find the place where you would grow best while you give and receive.
Mhm.
So find your soil. Make sure that you are contributing in some way, shape, or form, so that your growth will not just be inward, but outward as well.
Right.
Yeah, so me to you.
Right.
1, 2, 3.
It's me now.
Yes,
Wow.
If I mute very fast.
Yeah, boy. And I'm trying to technology failing on me right about now,
I
boy.
don't think it's technology.
Yes, boy. It's technology is failing on me right about now.
When you walk around, he's having a cool moment.
Jamal, you can't tell me what you doing.
I know something was coming.
Explain, what is the current moment? Focus.
Technology failing. He said technology failing, eh? And I say couldn't swipe in and out of the comments 3 times.
So what you saying? But you don't know what I'm doing.
It's you doing.
So what you don't know what I'm doing? Anyways, right? I want to end by saying this. You see this lovely fellowship. We have lovely fellowship on and off camera. And I want to thank God for it. I think we strive to be the church that God has called us to be as a group. So we don't do this just for doing its sake, but we do enjoy each other's company as well. And we want to thank God for that. And I want to close by saying that we have been called as a church. God has called us to be the church, and we have to be a part of that. And we hope by God's grace that we would strive, search ourselves, look in, that we would always strive to be better, not for ourselves, but for those around us. And always encourage that we would strive to be better and not forsake the gathering of the brethren. And lastly, we want to share that persons would have inquired or asked to be a part of the team, or even to come and be a guest. And we want to just share quickly that if you want to, you can send your name and your contact number to ASI Tobago at gmail.com, right? That's ASI Tobago at gmail.com.
Just like the channel, but with gmail.com.
Just as the channel, yes, ASI Tobago. Of course, and we welcome and we hope that we will hear from a lot of people and you can send it. And of course, we will make contact with you so that you can be a part of our live stream. Again, that is ASI Tobago at gmail.com. Right? God's blessings. I see the producer stand up now. Right? One stand up and one wake up. Right? Right? So God's blessings, and of course, see you all next week. I can't say for sure because there are some crusades that is happening across Tobago right about now. So we probably might be, live in a crusade sometime next week, but we're not too sure. But again, God's blessings. And if we see you all next week, we will continue this lovely conversation and have a happy and wonderful Sabbath.